Ever woke up after 8 hours of sleep and still felt tired? That was me until I discovered something called HRV. What if we had a dashboard in our body that told us when to push it and when to rest? Today, I want to talk to you about the Whoop band and something called HRV. By tracking this, it's allowed me to listen to my body better and to recover smarter. It's also highly motivated me to do more cardiovascular exercise, as we'll talk about here in a little bit. HRV means heart rate variability. It is the variation in time in between heartbeats. This seems small, but it means a lot. A high HRV means you're adapting well to stress and you have resilience. A low HRV means you're having a poor recovery and you're not adapting well to stress. The average HRV that you should have in order to have good resilience is above 30. Now, stress, burnout, emotional dysregulation can all lead to low HRV as well as poor sleep. This was a wake-up call for me when I started this process 40 days ago. Mine was at a 16. Fortunately, after changing several things in my life, it's now above 30. And I'll show you some of those stats later. Some of the reasons I chose the Whoop band was I was having a lot of fatigue. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't waking up rested. I had burnout and stress. I had problems with disrupted sleep. I also was out of breath, had more pain and stiffness. There are other ways to track this. The Oura Ring and also the Apple Watch will track some of this as well. And I have clients that have used these as well. I just decided to choose Whoop because it seemed like it was going to work better for me. Some of the key features, depending on which level you get, and there are 3. I picked the middle one, which is called the Peak. But it will measure your heart rate variability, your recovery. It'll measure your strain, your daily strain, whether it be through exercises or whether it be through running or just any kind of stress marker. Also, it will look at sleep tracking, and it will look at respiratory rate and VO2 max, as well as Whoop age. Now, this was also another wake-up call for me. So it based on, it measures for 21 days. It calculates a lot of these different things that are going into the data, and it comes up with an age of what it thinks you are. Now, I'm 57, but my Whoop age when I first started this was 58.9, which is a little bit scary, but I kind of felt that. I was like, I don't feel as healthy as I want to be. So this is one of the motivating factors for me to start this process of tracking my data and actually making some changes in my life. What I learned about sleep and recovery was that I thought I was sleeping okay, but once the Whoop data started coming in, it made me realize that I'm not having as good a sleep as I thought I was. So there's a difference between time in bed, let's say you're in bed and even asleep for 8 hours, and actually restorative sleep. So it's actually tracking your deep sleep, your REM sleep, your light sleep, how many times you wake up, and it's tracking your restoration. So it's important that you have restorative sleep in order to have energy in the morning when you wake up and also energy throughout the day. The cool thing is it was starting to track different things like alcohol and caffeine and food and different habits and how it's affecting my sleep. Well, we know from research that alcohol for sure can affect your sleep structure. Eating a lot of sweets can do that as well. Sometimes carbs at night is beneficial for helping to sleep. I've found that sometimes eating right before bed didn't affect my sleep, and sometimes eating at bed did affect my sleep. So starting to get an understanding of what is affecting my sleep, which to me, sleep is the most important thing when it comes to recovering from chronic illness. One of the biggest things I try to get my clients to do is to be able to have restorative sleep so that they have more energy throughout the day. So This has allowed me to see what things are affecting my sleep structure. I've found that meditation, breath work has improved my sleep structure. Sometimes getting overstimulated from playing games late at night can also affect my sleep structure in a negative way. So as it's accumulating this data, it's tracking what percentage of each of these factors are either negatively affecting my sleep structure or positively affecting my sleep structure. Now, I will say things like magnesium, blue light therapy, I've not been tracking that as much. It's just something I do all the time. So it's kind of hard to say if that was improvement. We do know from research that it is helpful when you dim the lights and you also get screens out an hour before bed. But this Whoop is helping me to see which things are affecting my sleep structure and my restoration. I will say one little thing though. Don't just rely on the Whoop data. Pay attention to how you feel and see if that compares to what the data says. I've had a couple of days where it says you did not recover, and I was fine. Now, if I kept doing some of those poor habits consistently over time, yes, I'm going to have poor energy throughout the day, and I'm going to have more brain fog and stuff like that. But pay attention to the data, but also pay attention to how you feel. So having this data available for me to see has really helped me to change some of my lifestyle, some of my habits. Some of the things that I've added are more zone 2 cardio. I bought a bike that allows me to use my arms and my legs, and I can get going pretty good on that. So research says that you should have about 180 minutes per week of zone 2 cardio in order to be in really good cardiovascular fitness. Also, HIIT workouts are important to be able to improve your cardiovascular fitness. So that's where in a minute you'll go really fast on the bike or really fast on the run for 20 seconds and then 40 seconds of just regular running. And so I try to do 10 of those per workout. So let's say I might ride the bike for 30 minutes. 10 of those minutes might be a HIIT workout. So I might warm up for 5, do the 10, and then just ride the bike normally after that. So my goal is to get the 180 minutes per week of zone 2 cardio and then 50 minutes of the HIIT workouts, which usually puts you into anywhere from zone 3 to zone 5, depending on how fast you do your hits. So this has helped. It's also allowed me to see where different stressors within my life are affecting my strain and affecting my recovery. So it's allowed me to add more breath work, make sure that I'm managing my stress a little bit better, and help me to improve that as well. So you can journal this, you can track it. There is a report that you can get that I printed off for you. And I just want to kind of show you down here at the end so we're looking at respiratory rate, resting heart rate, sleep duration, and daily aerobic activity. And so you can see here, I didn't have a lot of activity, but now that I got the bike, I'm getting more of this activity. I've got about in the last week since I started really upping this, I've gotten about 80 minutes of the zone 2 or higher cardio. But you can see my sleep duration's getting better. This is what's really cool. My resting heart rate was much higher, and now it's down here. It's down in the lower part. You might have to scan in to see this. And my respiratory rate is also improving. And then, of course, my sleep has gotten better. And as I mentioned earlier, my heart rate variability is now above 30, or it's been up above 30. It kind of varies from day to day, but obviously that can still change if I have a poor night of sleep. But what I want to see is my averages going up, and that's what we're seeing. So is it worth it buying a Whoop? I want to give you a little bit of information, a little bit of pros and cons before you go out and buy this yourself. Some of the pros are that you can get some deep data. There's no screens involved. And some of the cons, maybe the subscription model, it does cost somewhere around $250 per year, or somewhere around $20 per month. You can get the band for free and you can download the app for free, but you basically pay for the subscription. And you have to pay for either a year in advance, or you just have to sign up for a year where it's costing you like $20 a month. Who is it good for? Athletes, biohackers that are trying to find out more information, chronic illness warriors. The people that it may not be helpful with are those that are looking for a quick fix and having flashy devices. But I've been pleased with it. I've recommended it to a lot of people, and I feel like it's been very helpful for me to get more data. It's motivated me to understand where my fitness levels are at, where my sleep is at, where my restoration is at, and how I'm recovering from stress. So I'll continue to use it, and it's something you might want to look into as well. In closing, tracking your HRV isn't about perfection. It's about patterns and self-awareness. It's about understanding where you're at and where you want to be. So what about you? Have you tried the Whoop Band or Oura Ring or Apple Watch? What's worked for you and what's been your experience? Drop those comments below. If this was helpful, like it and share it with others. If you would like to see more information or like on my Whoop data or HRV tips to how to improve those, drop a comment below and I'll see you in the next video.